like for everyone else also going to university and all of that, that is the number one thing that you have to understand. You have to take responsibility.
True.
And study was patigash.
Don't you think all courses in university, they should have sort of like maybe one module or one course that will just teach the students on how to manage their own personal finance?
I 100% agree, and I feel like it should start in high school. So yes, that is equivalent to their way of doing things, but that you can apply in your life. And then other things, going out and all of that, it's things that you have to monitor. That
True.
Okay, maybe this month I have to make a big purchase. For instance, I have to buy a dishwasher.
Yeah.
So I had to sort of control my spending so that I can save up for a dishwasher, right? So it's all of those things. I feel like something that we all should learn from a very young age.
Life is very short. For waking up every day to do something that you don't love, it doesn't need to be all about financial stability, living a good life, but it has to be about serving your purpose. What's up, Visionaries? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Vision. Let's build and transform. I hope that you're all doing well. I'm doing well too. So today, I'm very excited to be bringing to you this episode on Beyond the Vision. And one thing that I'm more excited about is the fact that today we have our very first female guest. And she's a chartered accountant, South Africa. She has a wonderful story to tell about her life. And I'm very honored that she accepted my invitation to come to this show as my first female guest. So without talking too much, let me introduce you guys to Yoliswa. There we go. How are you?
Okay, thanks. And you?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, I would say before today, it's been a while since I saw you.
Yes.
It's been a while because though we work in the same place, it's hard to see you at times. But yeah, I'm very honored and I appreciate you taking your time to come to this show, Beyond the Vision, and just to share a little background of what it's about. Again, I know I already told you, but this is all about the purpose of teaching those who are out there, the young professionals out there, maybe someone is in high school, maybe someone is primary school or varsity, but with the stage that we are at in our lives, I believe that we have so much that we can share that can help those people who are up and coming,
Definitely.
So it's for that purpose. And you as a CA, South Africa, I genuinely know chartered accountant is not an easy thing. I've heard so many stories about that. So the fact that you are a chartered accountant it means that you have a story to tell, I believe. So thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Perhaps let me just ask, how's life? How's everything going?
So far, well, currently I'm experiencing a bit of change. I wouldn't say change, but starting a new job, new environment, and sort of outside what I've been used to for the past 3 years. It's a bit of a, I don't say challenge, but it's a bit of an experience to adjust.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm trying. It's just that's like the biggest change in my life currently and what's happening.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, life's
Everything's
good.
Right, that's nice.
Yeah.
So just share with me. I know your name is Yoliswa, but who is Yoliswa? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? Stuff like that.
So I was born in Tuzuma, a township near Kwamashu, between Kwamashu and Nanda, basically, here in Durban. I grew up there and sort of moved from my grandmother's house to my mother's place, and from there just started boarding school, and then I was away from home ever since.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went into boarding school for high school, and then after that I went to the University of Zululand for my undergrad, and then University of Cape Town for my postgrad. So I've been away from home from there.
From high school.
From high school,
Wow.
yeah.
Right. How was being in boarding school? How was it like?
At first, I don't know, there's a bit of a story. At first, I didn't want to be in boarding school, but somehow my mom had a vision about it and had a reason for it, which now I appreciate and understand. Yeah, but at first, it got to a point where I wanted to. I don't know if I can say this.
You guys fine.
Yeah, like I wrote a letter saying I'm going to kill myself and all of that if you take me to boarding school and all of those things.
Yeah.
And then she just didn't listen to me. I went to boarding school. It was a bit of an experience. If looking at it now and telling someone about the experience I had, I feel like someone else would say, okay, I don't think you should be living in those kind of conditions, but I feel like it did build character for me, and it did build the person that I am today. And I feel like I'm grateful to have gone through that experience, because I don't know how I would have turned out if I didn't go through that, or if I had it easy and I don't want to say exposed to the outside world, because you could go out and do something that's not, maybe that's frowned upon by society. You could still do that. You had an option, right? But yeah, I just don't know how I would have turned out if I wasn't in boarding school. But it was quite an experience. It was a girls only boarding school.
Okay.
From grade 8. And mind you, in grade 8, I was 12 years old. So I had to be independent.
You were 12 years old?
Yes.
You started schools too early?
Yes. I started grade 1 at the age of 4, turning 5. That's my mic on. Sorry.
I actually know a few ladies who started school very early.
Yeah.
You guys love school. I don't know why, but
okay. I don't think so, hey. I don't think so. I think my mom told me that I used to like reading newspapers with my grandfather.
Yeah.
So that's when I started the whole thing of learning and all of that. But the reason why I started, or I was in grade 1 at 4 years, it's because I sort of I got lost one day and went into the grade 1 class instead of my class. And then when I got there, I started answering questions like I was part of the class and all of that. And then it became like normal for me to go to that class. And then they were like, no, let's just let her be here and all of this and all of that. And that's how I ended up just going through. But then obviously teachers were questioning my age, first of all.
Yeah.
I remember in grade 7, my mom was called, they were asking her, are you sure this is her age? Because I was 11 at that time. Are you sure she's 11 and all of that? Because I was first in class or second and all of that. So they just didn't understand how I was performing the way I was performing at my age.
Yeah.
And then this one teacher said, it's either I have to like repeat a particular age, grade, just to keep up with my peers, or I'm going to have a problem down the line and I'm not going to take it very well, right? And I was at an age where I could actually comprehend that and understand that. So I was like, why would you say that? Now I'm always like, I always had the stress of what if this is where I fail? This is where that age gap catches up with me. So I always had that fear. But then it just never happened. I'm like, oh, I wish I could go back and be like, look at me now. So that's how I sort of got to grade 8 at that age and actually finished school earlier. But yeah, my boarding school experience was something else. I don't know if I can share it. It's very...
Yeah, you can. maybe I was gonna ask actually any of maybe the challenge that you faced while you were in boarding school.
I'd say a challenge would be the infrastructure itself and the resources that we had as a school, because it wasn't a very like your Model C type of school and all of that. It was very, I don't want to say underprivileged, but yeah, it wasn't, that's what I'm saying, it wasn't good conditions to stay in as kids.
Yeah.
And we didn't have like helpers or people who used to come and clean the dorms and all of that. We used to do that. And yeah, I don't want to bash it, but yeah, it wasn't a very nice place to be at. But in terms of principles and rules and I don't know what a child can learn, 100%. I feel like if the infrastructure were to change, I would definitely put my kids in that school because of the principle that they teach.
Yeah.
Yeah, even at school, because you can either be a day scholar or a boarder as well. The school was perfect. Teachers were perfect as well. And then, yeah, I loved the teachings more than anything. But the infrastructure itself, it had to change. Cold water during winter.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yes,
that's so
cold
crazy.
water and all of that. Yeah, but it just sort of grounded me. And I remember when my mom and dad were leaving me at school, my dad was like, in everything that you do, just don't forget to like respect the other person and know where you come from. So those were the words that sort of stayed with me throughout the 5-year journey. And it was amazing. It was amazing. I don't want to lie.
Wow. I mean, I didn't go to boarding school. So I went to a school where they were both, boys and girls.
Okay.
Through. But it's not a school that had a good infrastructure as well. There was no good infrastructure. And also education itself. We were, I don't want to say, we were just a bit disadvantaged, because you find one teacher teaches maths, physics, and that teacher is teaching from grade 10 up until grade 12.
Ooh.
But I loved the way how all of them, they were always dedicated to their work. They were always bombarded with a lot of work. If it's a life science teacher, he or she is teaching grade 8, is teaching grade 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
If it's a physics teacher, 10, 11, 12. And you can imagine that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
So we're a little bit disadvantaged with the infrastructure and also the education itself. But I'm very glad because I didn't take that as a stumbling block for me to keep growing.
Yeah.
Of which, if I can just share the story, what happened with me, I remember in grade 10. I'm not like you. I was not smart when I was young.
Oh my goodness, you said anything about that?
Because you went to grade 1 and you were answering all the questions. So I can't relate. But in grade 10, this was after I spent a lot of time studying and trying to study and praying to God to give me at least the knowledge so that I can be able to do what I wanted. So grade 10, I saw I'm starting to perform well. Okay, cool. I told my parents I need to go to a better school. I can't be going there. Yeah, that energy. You feel like I'm a genius now.
Yeah, what did they say?
This school doesn't suit my standards anymore. So my parents, they agreed to it. They could see the performance and everything.
Yeah.
But one person who had a problem with it, and I will always love that man and appreciate him. It was my maths and physics teacher.
Okay.
Because when I told him, he was so not angry, but he was very bothered and sad about it. Okay. He begged me not to go. He begged me because I was doing well in the class, and he could see that this is the cream of the crop. You know what I mean? But I didn't care.
What made you feel like you had to change schools? I get that it was sort of disadvantaged and all of that. Did you feel like you had a better chance at a better future if you were outside the school, or like what would you say was the motivating factor for you to be
The
like, I
first.
need to change schools?
Yeah. The first motivating factor, number one, was the education itself.
Yeah.
You know, as much as they were trying, those teachers, I could see that, you know, they are struggling themselves. You know, I'm not getting the type of education that I desire. That was the first factor. And the second, I think a bit of a peer pressure from other people who, you know, their parents took them to a different school.
Yes.
You know, I didn't really pay attention to that at that time. But now that I've grown, I start to realize, man, you know, this decision, it was inspired not just because of the education and whatever, but I was feeling like, okay, cool, I'm smart now, but I don't deserve to be in this school. I need to be with those other ones. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the things that made me to go there. And they did when I went to grade 11. Well, I did grade 11 in 2020, by the way. So I know you will verify life in 2020. So I moved to a new school. I was using a transport going there. It was a challenge in the beginning, you know, having to wake up too early for the transport and everything. Okay, cool. First week, down the line, only one class, maths class only. The other teachers didn't come. All right. Second week, they come, the physics teacher comes. Now, like I was used to my previous physics and maths teacher.
Yeah.
You know? When he explains things thoroughly, and he makes sure that you understand. He's not gonna pass a chapter if you don't understand. Now it's a big school.
Was in greener on the other side.
It's a big school. There's a lot of students. You know, they can't just be focusing on you or whatever. And when they are teaching, the pace is fast as well.
Okay.
So I couldn't understand maths and science. I couldn't understand them, and I had to think about reverting now to my older school. I think I spent over a week thinking about it, and yeah, after thinking deep into it, I decided I'm going back.
Nice.
I'm going back. And then the ideas came up, you are going back, those people are gonna judge you. You know your friends there, they're gonna laugh at you. They're gonna be saying, Vision, where were you going?
Yeah.
You know, you should have just stayed here with us. But I said, you know what, I'm not doing this for anyone or to please anyone. It's a decision that I'm taking by my own after experiencing what I've experienced. I have learned. Because I had that preconceived idea, you could say, my school is not a better school. There's no better education here. Better education is elsewhere. Of which I found out that it's not actually about the best education in your school, but it's actually about yourself.
What you make of it also.
Yeah, what you make of it. So I reverted back to my school. I went back there. And when I went back there, my teachers were very happy. They were very happy. My maths and science teacher even sang a song in Venda. I was like, "Wananga olengera me." Like, that means
what does that mean?
Mtanami, why are you late? Like, or why were you late? You know what I mean? So they sang that song with my class.
But you listen.
Those people, they made sure with my first day there back at school.
You must suffer.
It was terrible because they were laughing at me. Where were you going?
You must suffer.
And they started calling me with the name of that school that I went to.
Oh no. It didn't stack here for the whole year.
No, it was just for a few weeks. I mean, the other advantage was that they knew, okay, this one who's back, he's not just a nobody.
Yeah.
He's someone who he knows what he's doing. Even when he left here, he was not the genius or whatever, but he knows what he's doing and what he wants. So that lasted for like a week. After a week, I said, I know one revenge that I'm gonna get you. Because I know in maths, in physics, in life sciences, everywhere, you're gonna come to me looking for help. So I use that as as an advantage. So yeah, that's how my high school was. So tell me, after your high school,
Mhm.
how was Matric? How did you do on Matric? How did you cope? Just share a journey with me in Matric, because I know there's a lot of things that happens in Matric. You know, that
Yeah.
class is one class that you get to learn a lot of things when you are in grade 12.
Yeah.
So just share with me, how was it for you?
Oh, I'm trying to think back. Okay. I'm trying to think back, but I feel like for me, it was very short. That's one thing for sure. It was
Mhm.
very, very short.
Yeah.
And in terms of man learning and coping with the content and that short time frame and having to prepare for the exams,
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't feel that much pressure because it has always been something that I was doing from grade 8, if I
Mhm.
may call it that. Because initially, grade 10 at school, what they do was to sort of allocate you to physics, commerce, or humanities, right?
Mhm.
So that they create order first, based on your marks, your grade 9 marks, right?
Yeah.
So they allocated me to physics.
Okay.
And on the first day, I was like, thank you. This is not me.
Yeah.
So I went to commerce because I loved EMS so much so that I was used to sit on the desk to actually learn and grasp the whole
I was
concept in
terrible at
grade 9.
EMS.
I love accounting.
It was terrible.
No, Shen, I felt like it made sense to me at that time. It
Yeah.
still does. Yeah. So all through from grade 10 to grade 12,
Mhm.
I was sort of doing something that I was passionate about. So I
Okay.
didn't find studying that much of a challenge.
Yeah.
And also, I had no other choice. I was in boarding school, so we had no TV. We're not allowed to
Yeah.
have phones.
Ish.
Had to be your books.
Hard being in
It
boarding
had to
school.
be your books, books and gossip, books and gossip. So
Yeah.
it's just that. So I didn't find that challenging. And also, what I felt like was important, or what I think is important, is if you're used to being in a top 10, for instance,
Mhm.
that motivates you to say, next time we do our ceremonies and all of that, I don't want to not be on stage, right? So
It
that
does.
pressure and that fear sort of pushes you to excel and do your
True.
best so
Yeah.
that you get into the top 10. You can even be number 7, it's fine, but as long as
True.
you're up there, right?
Yeah.
Because you're used to your name being called on stage and all
Yeah.
of that. So I feel like that is what motivated me throughout my journey. So in Matric, when I got there, it wasn't as bad or challenging,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I enjoyed accounting. Used to teach my peers as well where I had chance.
Mhm.
I used to get a hiding so much for accounting
Okay.
from our teacher. So, oh my God. And that was not just Matric, it was from grade 10. And
Why?
one thing that is not nice about being taught by one teacher the same subjects from grade 10 and grade 12. Do you know those topics where you would have done them in grade 10? You can't say, no, we didn't do this, right?
You can.
They know, I taught you. I taught you this thing in
Yeah,
grade 12, so you're
true.
supposed to know.
Yeah.
So how he used to like sort of teach us, he emphasized on that is accounting specifically. For the other disciplines, it was also fun, but like most the most subject that I was focused on or most loved
Yeah.
was accounting. So what he used to do was to sort of emphasize that, okay, we do have a textbook prescribed to sort of go through the textbook to learn concepts and all of that.
Mhm.
He emphasized that it's important for you to practice previous question papers, and that is the best method for me for accounting, I
True.
believe, right? So we used to do that, and then if we write a test, before he even marks them, he will hand out the script back to us.
Mhm.
And then he'd say, I need you to count the number of spaces that are empty. So questions you didn't attempt, basically.
Okay.
And then come tell you you're hiding. Because if you left 10, you're getting 10. Yes. So the reason or the logic behind all of that was for accounting, we have something that is called method marks, right? Method marks is basically take your balance sheet, so you know a balance sheet, right? Where it has to balance, your asset has to equal your equity and liability and all of that.
Okay,
So the principle is it has to balance.
Yeah.
Right. You may not necessarily get it all correct. So all the amount correct, total. Yeah. You may not get it, but under pressure, you have time and all of that.
Yeah.
If you put your asset and the same number for your asset where your liabilities versus equity to sort of balance, you get a mark for that because you understand the concept that the balance sheet needs to balance, even if when you actually sum those amounts, they don't equal to that number.
Yeah.
Right. So the reason for all of that, or that whole exercise, was for us to actually attempt all the questions so that at least you know you have all the method marks.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the reason for it. So it was a lot of those just to sort of, I want to say, emphasize on the principle and all of that. So yeah, even your marks, if you didn't get 100%, if you didn't get 90, if you didn't get something, you're getting a highlight for it just to motivate you to do better. So all of those things I feel like sort of contributed to how well I did, or how I was able to overcome any challenges or hindrances I may have had during my matric. Yeah, but it was a very nice year. I don't want to lie. It was a very nice year.
So when did you realize that you want to study finance?
Okay, we've had established that I love accounting.
Yeah.
So I wasn't very much exposed to the different kinds of careers out there, because I believe for us, well, let me say for me, you, in general, you are exposed to what you see in your community or whatever, wherever you go. That's like what you can draw from society or the community. So if you know someone who's a CA, if you know someone who is a police officer, doctor, and all of that, it's a career that you're exposed to that you can maybe put down as, maybe I want to be a teacher, maybe I want to be a police officer and all of that. I didn't have that. Or someone I could say, oh, I know someone who's a CA and I wanted to be like them. No, I didn't have that luxury or that opportunity. But part of reading about accounting at school and all of that, everyone was like, oh, if you're doing accounting, you're going to be a CA, you're going to be an accountant and all of that. That is what I was hearing. Yeah. So, okay, if I love accounting, it means I'm going to be a CA. Yeah. Cool. We have a career, that's fine. Yeah. And when I read up about it, it's sort of like the principles of a good quality CA sort of resonated with me. Because if you read about it, you have to have integrity and all of those things. And for me, it spoke to being a good person, basically. And I don't know how to put it, but be transparent, objective. If something is wrong, you can pick it up, raise it, and all of that. So for me, it's like being a good person, basically. And that is how I summarized it, that no, this can make me a better person, and also I can contribute in the public, right? Because I can hold other people accountable and all of that. So yeah, that is how I got to like knowing that, okay, I'm gonna be a CA. Second phase was I wasn't really sure what then I need to apply for or how to apply. Or how to apply. Yeah. So I remember, okay, at school, life orientation, we had that session of, okay, what is the next step and all of that. And then at school, we used to get CAO forms, right, to fill in. My first choice, okay, it was BCom Accounting. And then when I was looking at that pamphlet saying for CA, you have to have so many points, I'm like, how am I going to get that? It was very tough. I remember with my desk mate at that time, we both wanted to do the same thing. Yeah. Say UK said, hey, okay, you need this much, that's a lot, and all of that. And we saw Unizulu. Unizulu was, oh, okay. it's not that much points compared to the others. So let's just put that down, right?
Yeah.
So we put that down. I had teaching on there because I love to teach also. And I feel like that's my retirement plan, maybe.
Wow,
So I love
that's cool.
teaching, accounting also. So yes. So yeah, we put everything down, applied for UKZN, but we were like, we're going to put UKZN and UniZulu as well somewhere down the line because we want to sort of have a fall-on plan or plan C, a backup plan, right? If we don't get into UKZN.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's how I sort of then understood, okay, this is how this is my next step in this whole commerce finance thing, right? Yeah, and then this one day, was a Zulu teacher. Yeah, the Zulu teacher came in asking, okay, who got this much mark in math? Who got this much mark in English? Raise my hand. I'm the only one who raised it. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't want to sign up for a debate or whatever. I didn't want to sign up for things I didn't know, but I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. Okay, follow me. And then when we got to the offices, he was like, oh, okay, there's an institution called SICA. I already knew about SICA because it's an institute for chartered accountants here in South Africa. So it was like, there's this camp going on at UKZN. You just have to come with your clothes. They're going to provide this and this. It's for this long. It's just to sort of teach us, practice math, and do like accounting games and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I went there, participated, and to my shock, we wrote a math paper that we had written, I think in July or so. I'm like, oh, where was I going? I didn't know I was gonna write the math. I didn't know, and they marked it, and then they gave us our results and all of that. Okay, that's fine. No one got hurt. It's fine. Yeah. So there was that whole thing, but I just didn't know at that moment that was going to be the seed to what I'll become in future. Right? Because after that camp, we got our results for Matric. Then I got a call from someone from SICA, and they were like, this is Yoliswa, this is so-and-so from the camp and all of that. I just wanted to know your marks for this subject and this subject and your total points. And then I told them, and they were like, oh, okay, that's great. We have an opportunity for you. Go and study BCom Accounting Science at the University of Zululand for 4 years, and everything will be paid for. You just have to come with your clothes again. Right? Okay. Everything will be paid for: accommodation, books, tuition, all the jazz. You get the books from us and all of that. You're getting an allowance as well.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, okay, that's a nice opportunity. But then to be a CA, you have to study for like 3 years, 4 years degree, or 3 honors, articles, and all of that. Right? So what sold me for that offer was, after that 4 years, I'm going to go and study for the postgrad or honors, whatever you want to call it, either at UTC or UJ, also paid for.
Wait, who was the person who spoke to you about it?
Also paid for. And then after that, I'm going to be placed or allocated in an accounting firm or wherever to do my articles.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh no, this is too good to be true, right?
Was the person from UKZN?
No, the person was from SICA. So they were part of the camp that I went.
Yeah, that you went to.
Yes, that's how I'm saying that was like the beginning of it all, if I make fun of that. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then I got an offer from UKZN. Mind you, that offer was for UniZulu, right?
Okay.
Yeah. UKZN, the degree is 3 years, not 4 years. So at UniZulu it was 4 years because they were still part of an accreditation process. So that's why they needed a group of people and all of that to do BCom Accounting Science on there for accreditation by SICA, right? Okay. Yeah. So I had to look at, am I trading the 3 years for 4 years and all of that? Yeah. And then my mom was like, you know what? less stress. NSFAS hasn't gotten back to you for your case and all of that, so just go to usually that's fine. I was like, yeah. And it was the beginning of it all.
You went to Unizul?
Unizulu, did my 4 years and then and.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wait, that's such a blessing to just get an offer.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
no, that's a blessing. You were very fortunate.
Remember? Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah. So now let's talk your university now. Maybe you're doing your first year.
Yes.
You're doing your first year university. Straight from boarding school.
Yes.
Where, you know, all your encounter was with girls and all that. Yes. Now university first year, you are in class with these guys, you know, their voice is a bit deep, all the stuff. How was it? How did you adjust to that?
It wasn't as difficult. It wasn't bad. Let me not lie. It wasn't bad, Shane. It wasn't bad. For me, I feel like I didn't look at it that way. But now she was like, hey, what did I do? No, I didn't look at it that way. I feel like, if anything, I was comfortable being away from home and in a place where it's just kids, if I may call it that. Because I'm used to not being around my parents, right? I feel like I only looked at it that way, that, okay, independence again, it's fine, I've done it before, I'll do it again. Okay. In terms of boys, no. I didn't look at it that way, honestly. But yeah, there were boys.
Boys will always be boys.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, I get it. But academically, I wanted to ask actually, because you mentioned that when you were young, you know, you were quick to answer sometimes and all that. So did that continue throughout up to high school, up until you finished your Matric? Wow, that's very nice.
Yes.
That's very nice, because I've seen people, well, my age mates, some of them I started school with them. They were very good. Geniuses, very smart, quick to grasp things.
Yeah.
But they kind of lost their way, you know, along the journey. And most of them, it happened when they went to high school. Because I feel like there's that pressure of, you know, we're going to high school now, we're a bit older. Now we start doing all the serious things, and all these things. You know, sometimes it's peer pressure.
I started that in primary, but my mom was quick to actually say, my girl, that's not how you do it.
Did she give you a beating?
A lot. And oh my gosh, I'm scared of my mom. Not in a very unhealthy way, but like, my siblings now, the way they talk to her and the way they do things, I'm like, do you know this woman? Hey, she can chuck notice you anytime. Like, I won't. No, man, my mom used to give me a hiding so much. And actually, I was naughty at some point. I know grade 7, I was very naughty. And it was boys related. Still in primary. I feel like that's also one of the reasons why I went to boarding school.
To boarding school, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But I'm so grateful that that stage happened before the whole Placer things and all of that, because I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Are you firstborn?
Yes, I am.
Oh, cool. I see the energy.
Really?
You know, energies connect. You know what I mean?
Yes, I'm the firstborn daughter. I'm tired.
Yeah, because I'm a firstborn as well.
Oh, nice. How are you finding it?
Well, a bit challenging at times.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit challenging at times, but I'm grateful to be a firstborn, because it kind of gives you that motive, an encouragement that no matter what, you have to make it. You know what I mean?
I'm afraid that is what is toxic.
Yeah, it's very toxic. It's very toxic, but because you're the firstborn, especially when, you know, the background that you grew up in is not, you know, that good, you know, that you kind of have that pressure. For us to have this, I need to be the one who makes it first.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And if I don't make it, it means these ones, they're gonna follow up my steps
They
because
don't even have anyone to look up to.
you know what I mean.
And you know how hard that is.
Not having someone to look up to. Yeah, it's not an easy thing. So being a firstborn, I find it a bit challenging, but I'm grateful for it because it has made me. I've grown so much at a very tender age.
Yeah.
Because of so many different experiences, that comes with being a firstborn, and also, just being a child in general. There are experiences that we experience, that are different. But I'm grateful for all of that. So,
do you believe, before you ask your question, do you believe that whatever you go through as a child sort of shapes who you are, like your character and your behaviors?
Yeah, I believe, because I do this thing of, I try to look at how I grew up myself.
Yes.
How my challenges were, the situations that I went through when I was young, and try to sort of compare them to the way how I think right now, and how much I've achieved right now. I feel like I'm a very humble person.
Okay.
And I'm someone who cares so much about other people's feelings. If I'm doing something, I ask myself, how is this person going to receive it?
Oh my God,
if I have to like say something to you,
yeah,
I try to think, how is this person going to feel after I say this? That is why sometimes, because we are people, we get angry sometimes. Even if you do the baddest thing to me and I talk to you, maybe somehow, I end up feeling very guilty because I spoke to you in a certain way. You know what I mean? And looking at that, I feel like that was caused by the fact that, and I'm grateful that I received it that way.
Yeah.
Because there are other people who went through the same thing, but they didn't receive it the way I received it. They just tend to be toxic people growing up. I was kind of bullied when I was young. I was kind of bullied. I've never mentioned this. I think I've only mentioned to one of my friends. I was kind of bullied by people who were very older than myself. Yeah, I was bullied. I'm not gonna share too much about that, but that made me be not like too soft that you can step over me, but it sort of made me to always have a humble spirit and to always try to be kind to people, because you never know.
I wish you would have received as well.
Yeah, I wish I could have received such kindness from other people when I was young, when I was helpless. I'm just a child.
Yeah.
And here is the big guys, here's the big girls doing whatever they're doing because of whatever. But I'm grateful for that. It shaped me to be a much better person. And I'm grateful for the fact that I received it the way I received it. I could have turned out to be a very toxic person. I could have turned out to be a bully as well. of which, when I went to grade 8,
Don't tell me you did something.
When I went to grade 8,
Hi, Vishi.
when I went to grade 8, I was tired.
Yeah.
I was tired of being, a ball to other people. And when I got to grade 8, I felt that I need to grow a thick neck right now, because I can't just let anyone step over me like that. I became a very I loved fighting people who mess up with me in grade 8.
Wasn't you doing like payback?
I had a lot of fights when I was in grade 8. I was fighting with people, and what's bad with it is that whenever I get involved in a fight, I wanted to hurt you. I want you to feel the pain. I want to see you bleed. You know what I mean? And it was very bad. But I think having good people around you also helps. So in helping to find who you are and not losing who you are along the way because of the situations that you're going through. I know I've always been a kind person and a humble person.
Yeah.
But what was happening when I was in grade 8, it was just like anger and
reacting to
reacting to what
happening.
was happening.
Yeah.
But after that, I found my way back, and I was like, this is not me. This is not who I am. So, yeah, I'm answering your question with a very long response, but
it just proves that the situations you go through in life,
true,
they do sort of shape who you are. And I'm really sorry for what you went through.
I'm good.
Sorry, no one should go through that. Honestly,
I'm good.
I'd never understand the people that do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I honestly get you. I do believe in that. And I just wanted to know where you're at. And when you were explaining yourself in terms of the kind of person you're like, oh, we're so alike. In terms of being kind and also, I don't know, okay, I feel like sometimes you can't say you're kind. Other people must say that because you're kind to them. Yeah. And also just also thinking of, I could have worded this a certain way if maybe you feel like you made someone feel some type of way, basically. I feel like I do that a lot as well. So much so that it may affect how I perform at work.
Yeah.
Like in terms of having confidence in myself, firstly, and also in terms of, how do I put it, being confrontational and standing up for myself. Because I always think, oh, even if someone does something bad to me, I always think, maybe they meant well, maybe they're going through something. So I'll make excuses for them. And also I'll be afraid to sort of straight up go into them and be like, yo, I didn't like this and all of that, right? So I feel like I get you. I get you. And I'm just wondering if it has to do with being a firstborn.
Well,
I wonder.
I don't know, but yeah, it's what it is. I've passed through that. Really.
Yeah.
I've healed. I mean, we grow. Things like those we learn, and as we grow, we accept. Okay, this happened, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I just want to spread to other people is that be kind to other people.
Definitely.
You know, there's no need for bullying other people.
Definitely.
And even if maybe you're seeing someone, either it's because they're doing well at school or whatever, or don't be a bully on whatever ground. Don't be a bully. Just be kind. If you can't be kind, just leave them alone.
And also just maybe asking yourself also why you're doing what you're doing, because maybe it calls for help even for yourself as a bully. So maybe you're going through something that's making you react in that particular way. So be kind and also do the self-introspection of why do I treat people like this? Is there not something wrong, but am I going through something? Do I need help?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm reacting in certain way towards other people. Right. So,
but let's leave that.
Yeah.
Let's leave that topic up. So, university. First year.
With boys.
No.
You said that.
First year, or maybe second year. How was it academically? How did you find academics?
First year, it was hectic because the first thing I was told was whatever you were learning in high school, unlearn that. And I had to. And I had to. The principles are still the same, but that is what they told us. Unlearn that. It was a bit of a challenge in terms of in school. You have a teacher in front of you teaching you the content, asking questions and all of that. In university, there's a whole lot of you guys in one lecture room. There's just one lecturer. Most of the time, there aren't even slides to sort of show that there is lecturing going on. It's a matter of, I don't know, following what the lecturer is saying, and most of the time maybe it's just saying read page with this and that for you to understand and all of that. So it's a lot of you taking accountability yourself and stepping up and making sure that I do my work, because there's no one who's going to ask me for my homework tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
like they do in high school. No one's going to ask you that. If you show up for an exam, if you don't show up, no one's going to care in the world that, oh, Yoliswa. No one's going to know that Yoliswa is not there even, right? Because there's a lot of you guys. So it was more of also adjusting in that sense, because I get independence in the sense that I know right, I know wrong. If I do wrong, obviously there's going to be consequences and all of that. I get that part of it, but also just in terms of academics now, having that discipline of having time to study, actually study, because you have a lot of time and you're away from home. You can go to the mall, you go to the clubs anytime you want. If you don't actually get that discipline and actually study and make time for what you are there for, you're going to have a problem. So I'd say those are the type of challenges. So it got better as you understand and as you fail. You get a wake-up call that, hey.
And when you're in university, you will fail tests. Trust me. Tests, you will fail very much.
Yeah. So I feel like that's the main thing. And like for everyone else also going to university and all of that, that is the number one thing that you have to understand. You get a lot of freedom in university. There are no parents, no one cares what you do. There's always going to follow you for your work and all of that. You have to take responsibility and study was patigash.
That's very important.
Very important, because you will find all type of guys or girls or whatever you wanna date or and all of that. You will find everything there. And if you forget what you're there for, it's chai for you. It's chai. So that was
I'm really glad that you mentioned that it was patikash. Since I've seen things when I was in university, there are people who treat themselves as if they don't love themselves. Truly, and it's very sad. It's not even one gender; both genders.
Everyone.
Like it's like when they go to varsity, there is this spirit that as soon as they get to
freedom.
varsity,
that spirit is called freedom.
It's like they that love for yourself, it lives.
It's freedom and wanting to experience everything and anything because I can. Like how I used to think of it is maybe I'm just sacrificing the 4 years of my life. 4 years of my life, and then I can do whatever I want. Obviously, you never get to that point because the next thing you're like, oh, I need to sacrifice another 1 year for my owners or whatever. Or you actually like how you lead in your life and you don't see anything wrong, or you don't see that, oh, I'm missing out of something and all of that. Have fun. Definitely have fun. But be careful. Have fun responsibly. That's a very let loose every now and then. Yes, I agree. But just be responsible and be careful. That freedom, you can get drunk of it very quickly. Very quickly.
And university, honestly, it's a place where you some kind of have to just tell yourself, I need to be me day in and day out. I need to be who I am. Because if you don't if you don't stand your ground on who you are, it's very easy for you to stray away from your true identity. You can go there being a pastor, you come back a drunkard.
That's
you can go there being a person who, you're not like going to the clubs or whatever. But you can come out being the party yourself. All those stuff. So it's just about you knowing yourself and saying, I'm going to stand my ground in who I am. You know what I mean? And embrace who I am. Truly. If I can give an example, I'm going to make reference with myself because I'm very proud of how I've carried myself out. I know someone can tell me, but I prefer telling myself more because that keeps me going and it helps me to always know Vision, this is who you are. No matter what happens, this is who you are. When I went to varsity, I was not that person who. Now I'm in varsity, my identity is changing. Now people who knows me, when they bump to me at varsity, they don't know. Hey, oh, so you are now like this. This is what you do now. No,
This is what you've become.
I was just the same person
Yeah.
that I was from high school, and even today, I'm still in varsity. Even though I'm working, I'm still studying. I'm doing postgrad, but I'm
Nice.
still the same person because I always try to stand my ground. It has helped me through so many things, being who I am.
Yep.
So I'd never let anything to change me, which is what those people in varsity and in high school they need to just know who you are,
Definitely.
be very aware of who you are
And where you come from
be
and
very
why you're
aware.
there.
True. So tell me, I want to get to the curriculum of chartered accountant now.
Okay.
Did you? I know it's about finance. At least I know that much. But did you learn some of like guidance in personal finance, or it was just all about you going to be an auditor or whatever for companies?
Very good question. Just thinking how I want to answer it. By personal finance, do you mean like how to handle your credit, budget, and all of that?
Yeah, all this stuff.
I'd say most of the stuff you look at them from a company perspective, but the principle you can apply to your life as a person. So, like budgeting, how a company would generally budget, the concept of budgeting on its own.
Yeah.
If you understand it, it's something that you can implement in your life.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily just for companies. I'd say the content may focus on that, but it's the same principle that you can also use for yourself. So I wouldn't say like personal, like how to apply for a loan or mortgage or whatever. No, it wasn't more on that, but being aware of the type of debt you can have and what debt, like the cost of debt now, so your interest and all of that.
Yeah.
You become more knowledgeable about those things, and it's something that you can also sort of implement in your life. I'd say, yeah.
Don't you think all courses in varsity, they should have sort of like maybe one module or one course that would just teach the students on how to manage their own personal finances? Don't you think it should be that way?
I 100% agree, and I feel like it should start in high school.
May I please have your attention for a second? Thank you. Welcome to a quick commercial. If you look at the number of the subscribers on this channel, you will see that it's very low. Yeah, it's very low. It doesn't make me happy at all. In fact, it makes me angry. It makes me sad. I've not been eating food for the past 3 weeks right now because you guys are not subscribing to my channel. I need your subscriptions, guys. Please subscribe. I know you're enjoying the video, and I want you to enjoy the video. That's why I put in so much effort to give you the best. Please subscribe. I need it. Because now I'm hungry. I need to eat. I have not been eating for 3 weeks. Please subscribe. Let's take it to 500 subscribers. Please. I'm begging you. Okay, let's go back to the video. So yeah, you were saying it should start in high school.
It should start in high school even. Part of the LO, whatever, life skills or whatever, but it should start in high school, I believe, because it's a very important concept that we need to all grasp in life.
Yeah.
And even if, I don't know, it should definitely start in high school, I think. It should start. And there's this teacher on TikTok that sort of make her students or learners pay rent and all of that, and you get fines for certain behavior and all of that. So that on its own, the kids are understanding the power of money.
Yeah.
how payday feels like when they receive their income, and the fact that you have bills to pay, you have to pay for rent and all of that, right? So it makes you think in a way that, oh, okay, I have this much income, I make this much money, and I have these fixed expenses, so your rent and all of that. Oh, and then if I maybe behave a certain way, I still have to pay fines. So I don't have that much money. So I can't afford to behave that certain way, right? So yes, that is equivalent to their way of doing things, but that you can apply in your life. Like, I have this much income that I am not increasing anytime soon, right? So maybe you don't have a side hustle, you're just going to work, that's your 9 to 5, and that's the income you get only. You have rent, water, and all of that that you have to pay every month. You have a car if you do have a car, and all of that, right? And then other things, going out and all of that, it's things that you have to monitor. That okay, maybe this month I have to make a big purchase. For instance, I have to buy a dishwasher. So I had to sort of control my spending so that I can save up for a dishwasher, right? So it's all of those things. I feel like something that we all should learn from a very young age, if possible. If not possible, then okay, fine, I'll accept university.
I mean, I feel like it's possible. It's just something that maybe is not spoken about more often. That, you know, it has to be taken serious. Because if we had that, or if we have that, I don't think they will have a lot of people who, whenever they finish maybe varsity, when they go to work, all they are working for is, you know, let me work hard, get a raise, get a promotion. But we'll have the type of people who are full of ideas in their minds, who could say, okay, this is what I'm earning right now. Okay, cool, I'm cool with what I'm earning. So I need to live in accordance to what I'm earning. But invest in myself, or invest in other things that can make me money if I want a lot of money. But today, honestly, we have a lot of employees who, when they are, you are promoted from a trainee to a manager, maybe in 5 years, you no longer want to be a manager. First 5 months, now you want to be a GM. Why? All because you want an increase. You always want that increase. But if we perhaps get this, you know, education about how to actually balance our finances, there's so many things we can do in life. So many things we can do in life. I read this book. The reason why I'm asking this question is because I have the same idea. It should definitely be taught from high school. I read this book. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes, I read it. That one.
Nice. By Robert Kiyosaki. So he said the difference between a person who is financially literate and someone who is financially illiterate is that the person who is financially literate, if they get more money, they're not going to add more liabilities to themselves. They're just going to add more assets to themselves, to their column.
To generate more income.
Now, the person who is financially illiterate, which is honestly a lot of us here, worldwide, not even in South Africa only, worldwide. When you get a raise, okay, my standards are raising now.
Let me buy a Mercedes.
You see?
Let me move to a more expensive place.
All those stuff. And then after that, you just remain the same person. The only difference is the fact that you are driving a better car, which is having a depreciating asset, whatever. You are living in a place, you don't even own it, you're paying rent and you're paying more. That's the only difference. You know, but if we get that education, we could see, hey, this is how you manage your finances. Not this way. You know what I mean? Because the other concern that I have myself when I Yoliswa, it's this concept of saving. There's a myth of save as much as you can. Always save. Always save.
You need to have a balance between saving and investing.
You see? Because me personally, I feel like save when you know exactly what the purpose is for that money that you're saving. Not to say I'm just saving because I have to save because I'm working. No. You're going to spend that money on useless things. You're going to save for a good 5 months. you have a good money, you have something very nice, and then you go to the shop, maybe you see something very nice there, it's very expensive. You go and buy it. You just wasted 5 months and you bought something that is very useless.
I think people now use different categories, like an emergency fund or a sinking fund and all of that. Everything they put into an emergency fund, basically the concept is if you were to be unemployed, let's say now, maybe you do have savings that can sort of pay you every month the same salary that you would have received, sort of thing. Or you have your sinking funds for your gifts and all of that, for different things that are ad hoc and not as every monthly.
Yeah.
Right. So things like that. I think it's very important. But even us, I don't know. And I also need a crash course. Okay, well, I feel like for me, it's more discipline more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's also a nice thing that I can also challenge you to do, to save up for your first 500,000, 500K. You can use Old Mutual, that's a tax-free savings.
Okay.
Right? For your lifetime, you can save up to 500,000. So you can do that. I think yearly, I think it's 36,000 if I'm not mistaken. But like maybe just read up on your tax-free savings. It's a nice thing because then you have a goal that you want to save that much money.
What I'm saying.
And then you can use it for whatever you want to. If you have a wedding coming up, you can do that and all of that. So yeah, there's so many different things that you can do. And at some point I was interested in property. I still am. I still browse through Property24 every now and then and all of that. But I found the Easy Equity. Now it has, what is this, properties sort of, whatever, a channel for that only, because usually it's shares and all of that. Now it has property, so it's a different kind of property. Like say, for instance, there's like a residential accommodation for students that's going to be built in Cape Town near Stellenbosch, let's say. The people building there, whoever, sort of wants to, how can I say this? Collect funds.
Oh, okay.
Right. So then they open up a platform for you guys or for everyone to sort of buy into it. Right. So I don't know. I wish I can show you on my phone, but that's the whole, that's the whole like thing. But like browsing through it, just finding things that maybe you might like or not, and obviously have sort of the reason why you do something. So if you're gonna invest in such residential accommodation, probably you're looking at getting rental income, like a portion of it, because it's like you're also a shareholder of that particular. Yes. So looking for that, or it's just a long-term thing. It's similar to buying an apartment.
Yeah.
Do you want rental, or are you going to stay in it? Which then you're going back to that liability. You're staying in it. Rental, or is it a long-term thing that, okay, I might sell it someday, and all of that. Yeah. So it's just maybe looking at what interests you as a person and maybe try and see how you can make money off of it. It can be not a business that you own as a person, but someone else owns, and you have the funds. People are always looking for funds to use in starting up their businesses and all of that. If it's something that interests you and something that you see that, okay, this, I can sort of make money off of it, maybe just invest my money and all of that. So things like that, that's your point of do things with a goal.
True,
Yeah. And I feel like it helps if it's something that you also are interested in, because you have to keep up with the news and all of that just to sort of see where things are heading and all of that. So yeah.
Right.
A balance.
Well, I get that. I'm also interested in property. So that's why I'm saying you show me afterwards. I'm interested in property, and I want to learn as much as I can.
Yeah.
Property.
Do you go on Property24 to look for insane amount houses and be like, oh, this is cheap?
More often. I do more of it.
I love
Honestly,
it.
yeah.
I love it.
But I always try to compare, between Durban, Johannesburg,
Mm.
and Cape Town. Cape Town prices are insane. Like, what the hell? Durban follows Cape Town, I think.
But for like a very poor quality apartment.
Yeah, for very poor quality apartments.
Very poor.
But when you go to Joburg, their prices is like they're reasonable. You find that an apartment is 1.5 million. When you look at it, it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is a bit different from what we get from Durban and Cape Town like that. But yeah, that's the whole point, man. Let's save when you have a goal and a purpose, not just for the sake of what I'm gonna say. Because people, I feel like we kind of stay and relax and feel like, okay, I'm working now. There's no need to learn continuously. Not going to school or varsity doesn't mean that you need to stop learning, because you always need to you always need to discover something new every day. If you don't, you can only apply what you know, Yolis.
Yes.
And you can only make your life better by what you learn daily. If you stay with what you know from varsity, sadly, they don't teach personal finance in varsity. So what you think and what you know, that's it. It's going to be you until you grow old and probably die, you know? And I just discovered this thing not so long ago. I think it was last week. I was watching on YouTube, and I stumbled upon a video that this guy was talking about, mistakes that people do when they buy their first cars.
Yeah.
And he was sort of giving guidance. Because this is what you need to follow when you buy your first car and all this stuff. And he mentioned, Ukuti, if you are a graduate, maybe you are a graduate CA, maybe you are a graduate engineer or health science or whatever, you actually have the luxury of going to open a young professional account.
Yeah.
Of which that young professional account, it gives you the ability to go and buy your first car with a prime minus rate.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, I've never heard this from anybody. I'm only hearing it from YouTube. But everyone that I stumble upon who talks about when you buy your first car, you're gonna be told, go and open a Trueworth account, go and open a TFG account. Haibo.
Also, that's for like building a credit.
To build your credit score. So not building your credit score is not what we are supposed to. We're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But you're a first-time car buyer.
Yeah.
Here's the catch: young professional account, but people don't really talk about it. Do you think it's because people don't know, or it's just because people are gatekeeping the information?
I feel like people don't know, and it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
But also, those who don't know, they need to bother themselves enough to go and find out the information.
Yeah.
Those who do know, they do need to like create your YouTube videos on it, right? So if you want to know about the information, you're looking for it, and there is someone who's actually talking about it somewhere, right? So you need to meet each other. I also didn't know about it.
Yeah.
That until I was in university years, because they were poaching us to open accounts with them when we signed to do our articles, right? So that's when I know there's something called a young professional account, and the rates are, what is this? The monthly charges are fixed until 30 or whatever, you know that. I knew about it then as well. So I think maybe if you bother yourself enough to get that information, I know there is someone out there who is sort of providing that insight. And also, I guess you can't ask questions if you don't know if it exists there. Yeah. But do your research. Do research now as a person. Because there's a lot of things we don't know, right?
Honestly.
But until you first acknowledge that you don't know something, and then you be hungry enough to go and research about it, then you're going to know, right? So yeah, there is such a thing.
I was very surprised when I discovered it. I'm like, okay, cool. Like this is something that needs to be spoken about more.
Yes.
People need to get the word out there for the people who don't know so that they can learn and avoid, making a lot of mistakes when they get out of varsity or whatever like that. So yeah. I want to ask a question now. What do you want to be remembered as when it's all said and done?
Oh, that's a very loaded question. As a
This
person.
is going to be a last question, actually.
As a person. Oh my days.
You can
I feel like I know the answer, but I just don't know like how to put it in words. Or is it something I want to be remembered by? I feel like kindness. That's, are you saying like professionally or as a
anything? It can be anyhow. It can be personally. It can be financially. It can be any.
I think kindness. I think kindness. That's one thing for me.
Right.
That's one thing I want. If I had a conversation with you or had an interaction with you, I don't want to leave as the bad person or leave a bad impression with you. And my good impression is not that I'm forcing it or acting so that you're going to be like, oh, Yoliswa is actually a good person. No, it's genuine, right?
Yeah.
Like kindness and helping people and being able to actually be there for people. I think that's my number one thing before anything else. Yeah, I feel like that's it, because I feel like that's the start of everything. I don't know.
Well, that's very nice.
I don't know, but I feel like
that's
yeah.
That's very nice.
Respect. Wow.
Respect for other people is important.
Do you believe that? I don't know. Now that you asked that question, I feel like I want to do, oh my gosh, a funeral while I'm still alive. Like a celebration of my life, just to hear what people say. Just to hear. No, I want to know.
How? Like, how do you want to do this?
I feel like that's what like your 50th birthday should be.
Oh, okay.
Like 50th, 60th. I want to know what people are going to say about me. I don't know. Now I want to know. I didn't care about it until you asked that. Now I want to know. I don't know, man. I feel like that is what would be important to me from the next person.
Yeah.
So I believe that if I can sort of do that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What is your answer for that question? I want to have an idea for
next time. Not expecting you to ask that question back.
No, it's interesting. I don't know how to answer it. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, but your answer is it makes a lot of sense. Truly, it makes a lot of sense. Kindness is one of the important things for us as people. We are living in a very rude and cruel world where kindness needs to be spread enough. Truly. So if that's what is your goal, you want to be remembered as, it's very interesting and wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah.
It's so funny when you ask questions. It's nice.
Exactly. But you feel it.
What do you want to be remembered as? I want to be remembered as a person who always stayed true to his words.
Okay. Yeah, that's important.
I want to be remembered as a person who always kept his promises. And I want to be remembered as a person who made a change in almost in a huge percentage of people I come across. I want to be remembered as a person who made a change in their lives. It can be a change, through talking with them.
Yes.
Or just like this YouTube, or helping them out with whatever they need. But I want to be remembered as a person who brought about a change into life. And yeah, I want to be remembered as a person who loves God very much. Yeah, I want people in my funeral when they're preaching, they shouldn't say, hey,
Oh, he loved God.
we are just preaching. This guy.
We've never seen him in church.
So yeah, I want to be remembered as someone who loved God, because I love God very much, and I don't just believe in Him, but I know Him personally. So yeah, pretty much that's what I want to be remembered
Yeah,
as.
that's
Honestly,
good.
yeah.
That's good.
Do you have anything that maybe you want to share before we close the episode?
No,
Okay.
just stay kind, guys.
Yeah.
I feel like even if you can't change someone else's situation,
Yeah.
by virtue of you being kind, it can sort of brighten up their day and maybe sort of help them clear out their head to think about the solution to their problem and all of that. Or maybe forget about the problem for a second and be happy in that moment because you were kind.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, just try and spread kindness as much as you can. Stay true to who you are. Be responsible, take accountability, and love God. Yeah.
Right. So nice.
Yes.
There you have it, guys. Yoliswa said, stay kind. And I second that. And niziphathe kahle.
Please.
Everywhere you are, whether in university or high school or whatever, just take accountability and responsibility in everything that you're doing.
Yep.
Yoliswa, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful and I appreciate your time. And we had a very great conversation. I mean, I got to see the other side of you that maybe I used to just assume, okay, maybe this person, she always wants to be kind every time.
Yeah.
Like she always, in everything that she does, you will see, you can tell, and it's genuine because this person wants to be kind. You know what I mean? So now I kind of saw that it's okay, truly this is who you are. You know what I mean? And I really appreciate that. And thank you very much for coming through. What I would just like to say is that I wish you all the best in as a chartered accountant here in South Africa, and everything that you aspire. It might be property, it might be anything. Personally, I wish you all the best, and may God bless you in all your future endeavors. Truly.
Thank you. Likewise. You too.
Thank you very much.
you.
Thank you very much. Okay, there we have it, guys. Bye. Till next time.
Bye.
Sharp.